Hello, my name is Kieran Sprecher, and I'm doing my final project on wildfires, specifically California wildfire school and experienced fires all 3 years. A very traumatic experience. I was let out of school all week in 2007. Uh, we had our bags packed. We were ready for evacuation signal. Me and my family sat in front of the TV watching the Weather Channel. It had a constant update of where the fires were and like the safe zones. And my family city's right smack dab in the middle of the safe zone, but the safe zone was getting smaller and smaller every hour, every day. Luckily, never had to evacuate or anything like that, but it was a very alarming experience for a teenager. Wildfires in California, especially bad in California because of dry and windy and often hot weather conditions through fall and autumn. So this is typically known as like the fire season in California. However, scientists gotten away from that phrase because it is no longer there's no longer a fire season because it's just so sporadic. There could be a fire anywhere at any time. It's really not predictable anymore. That create terrible fires in California, and that's the Santa Ana winds and the Diablo winds. My visual aid will give a better representation of like how those affect California and coming from the north and coming from the south. The 2018 wildfire season, the one that we just experienced, or not California just experienced, was the most destructive and deadly wildfire season on record in California. 8,434 fires burned an area. Over 2 million acres were destroyed. This is the largest amount of acreage ever destroyed in any year ever on recorded history. 2007 was actually the second, not the second worst, but one of the worst that we had experienced, and then it kind of like tamed down, and now every year it's getting increasingly worse. I also have a visual aid that will show a chart of how it's increased over time. Obviously, forest fires are extremely dangerous, and witnessing a large blaze tear through anything is devastating, and you see the power that a fire has. But some people overlook the other effects that a fire can cause. Not only does it affect the like vegetation, but it also affects the soil underneath the vegetation. It also affects the air above the trees. Um, fires, Forest fires can completely eradicate life in an area if it burns off the top layer of soil, because if the soil is destroyed, then no other life can survive there. Burning of like when a fire tears through a town or whatever, and it burns trees and houses and power plants and stuff like that, like all of that pollution gets sent into the atmosphere, and then we're now breathing that in. So it's not just the fire, or not just the blaze that causes destruction, but it's the detrimental after effects of the fire that also cause devastating damage. Um, the most important thing that I learned while doing my research was how just misinformed a lot of people were. I looked up a lot of politicians speaking on wildfires and seeing like how they want to like try and like stop this or like fix this. Obviously, politicians kind of push aside climate change in all aspects, and so they sometimes they just don't fully understand, and they don't fully grasp the science behind what's actually going on, and they're just misinformed and misunderstood. So that's another reason for doing this project. It helps people learn and helps people understand like all of the other effects that can be happening. So now I'll show you a couple of visual aids that'll help you better understand the things that I was explaining.